Thank you very much. First of all, a big thank you for having me here and for doing this competition. Total human empowerment. Today, I'm going to talk about 3 lessons of my entrepreneurial life. In 2007, I became an entrepreneur. I'm showing you this slide not to impress you, but to impress upon you that I've done some stuff in the last 10, 11 years. I've got 3 companies, 120 employees. I've got a podcast that I've been doing for 5 years, interviewing world-leading experts and entrepreneurs, trying to learn, trying to grow, trying to figure out this entrepreneurial journey, this life. And I've written 3 books too, which have been bestsellers. Sometimes life hits us in the head with a brick. And for me, that happened in 2007. I was working as a brand consultant in London with companies like Disney, BlackBerry, and Orange, when my boss came over to me and he said, "Do you want to go to the pub?" And I thought, go to the pub? He never asked me to go to the pub. So I'm either getting promoted or I'm getting fired. So he sat down opposite me, a pint in his hand, a pint in my hand, and he looked at me and he said, "This is my company. You're either an egghead or an entrepreneur, but you cannot work here anymore." And I was shocked, and I did not know what to do with my life. And at that point, I had 2 different choices. I could go down and get a new job, get married, mortgage, etc. Or I could say, okay, I'm 26 years old. I don't have much to lose. I can go for the road less traveled. And I did. I started my first company. And I started getting educated. I started reading books like How to Get Rich and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, how to build a real estate empire so you could do nothing and have passive income. The 4-hour work week, how you could delegate everything and live the freedom lifestyle, travel the world as a digital nomad. The perception of business that we get in the media are the unicorns. It's the Facebooks, the WhatsApps, the Snapchats. We read about billion-dollar deals. We watch Billions, where we also get the impression that, we can have all these cars and drive around and everything will be sweet and lovely. 4 years into my entrepreneurial life, I find myself at the Excel Center in London, taking notes, scribbling, sweating, excited, and anxious at the same time. I've spent more money than I have. I've taken up loans. I don't know how to repay them. Does anyone know who that guy is up there? Tony Robbins, right, success coach. So I'm sitting there, and suddenly my heart starts beating at about 200 beats a minute, and I'm going insane. I feel all this anxiety, and I don't know what to do. So I think, okay, I just need to go outside. I need to lie down on the grass, and then touch my ears and go, ooza, ooza. But nothing's working. Okay, I put some relaxing music on, but my heart just keeps on pounding. So I go, okay, I'll just go home, I'll lie down on the bed, I'll be all right. So I go on the underground, and it's rush hour. So I'm hanging on to one of these rails on the underground. I'm smelling the guy's armpit next to me. But I'm looking at my hands, and my hands are turning blue. And I grab the guy next to me, and I say, "I'm having a heart attack. Get me out of here." Little did I know, it was actually a panic attack. And if anyone here has had a panic attack, you get very much the same emotions as if you're going to die. So as a young person, it was quite an enriching experience, and it put some real perspective on my life. And I also realized that a lot of the things that I've been reading about in books and newspapers, magazines, and movies were not reality. So I needed a better strategy. And that is what I'm going to share with you here today, because the fact is that 4% of companies turn over more than $1 million. 90% of companies that are started fail within the first 5 years. 1% survive 15 years. And the S&P 500, the average age is under 20 years. So running a business, starting a business, doing this entrepreneurial glamorized thing is a very big challenge. In fact, it's an extreme sport. And the success isn't linear. it's very much like this, with ups and downs and bricks falling in your head, and of course you have some victories. Does anyone here play sports? Okay, so I play tennis. I love tennis. There's a lot to learn from sports. So the first thing, my first lesson, is from the ancient Stoics. Now, they lived more than 2,000 years ago and include, amongst others, Marcus Aurelius, who was one of the most popular emperors of Rome, Seneca, one of the first investment bankers, and Epictetus, who was the advisor of emperors. They talk about the dichotomy of control. Now, a lot of the talks today have been about anxiety, about stress, and I think maybe this is part of the solution. So, if you're going to play a tennis match, what is within your control? Well, you can prepare, you can eat the right things, you can train, you can do the mental exercises, you can do everything right, but you could still lose the match. Because you don't know what court you're going to play on, what balls you're going to use, who you're going to play, what the weather is going to be like, who's watching. Maybe you trip and fall and twist your ankle on the way to the court. Who knows? So every day I ask myself, what can I do? What can I do within what I control? And I work every day to try to forget all the things that I don't control. Because what the weather is like, I don't control. The financial markets, I don't control. When I get in an airplane, I have faith in the pilot that it's going to be okay. There's little else that I can do. Now, there is this fear of influence. So with this talk today, I could practice, I could exercise. But in the end, what you guys think of me, I can only influence. So that's point number one. Ask yourself, in any given situation, is there anything that I could have done about this? What can I do? Lesson number one. Lesson number two is acceptance. So let's say you're one set down. You played terrible. You should be beating this player, and you're frustrated. Can you change the past? Can anyone here in the room change the past? No. At least not that I know about. Can you change the present? Well, you're here in this moment right now. So you're here. So that you can't change that either. The future. Now, the future is interesting. We'd like to think that we can control the future. We can influence the future. But in the end, what the future brings, we don't know. We could do everything right. You could eat the right things. You could exercise. You get enough sleep. You might still get cancer. So accept what comes. Accept the past, accept the present, and also the future. Number three is focus on what you want. So let's say it's match point in the third set, tie break. You know tennis, that's like a big deal. You got to win this thing. So what are you going to do? Well, a loser might go, oh, don't hit it in the net. Okay, you're serving. Don't hit it in the net. Don't hit it in the net. See, the problem with that is that our brain works on pictures. And when you give your brain the picture of not hitting the ball in the net, the brain goes, oh, hit the ball in the net. I'll hit the ball in the net. No problem. Okay, we'll hit the ball in the net. A winner will focus on what they want. So a winner will go, okay, I'm going to focus on hitting this on the player's backhand. I'm going to visualize how I'm going to do it. I'm going to see how this ball is going to play out. And now you're giving your brain a picture of what you want it to do. Now this is challenging because our brain also operates on fear, right? Which oftentimes tells us what we don't want to happen. So this is a challenge, and also the importance of relaxation. So my three lessons is ask yourself, number one, what can I do? Was this within my control? Can I influence it? What can I do in terms of my life? Number two is acceptance, which is very much similar to surrender. Accept where you are. Do what you can do. Number three, Focus on what you want. Give your brain pictures of what you want it to work on. And then there's a fourth thing. There is one last thing, and that is faith. You have to have faith in your journey. You have to have faith in what happens. And we need to try to not judge whether things are good or bad. Because in the total picture of life, we never know whether a good thing is a good thing or a bad thing is a good thing. Thank you.